Scorpio, hello, Amanda here. Welcome to Unseen Hands Healing. This is going to be your October shift reading. So we're looking at the shape you're shifting out of this month, the shape you're shifting into, and what that shape shift looks and feels like. So Scorpio, we're nearing your season. Can you feel it? I can feel it. Okay. Scorpio, I'm getting a very specific image of parenting. And parenting could be literal for you. You could have a child. But I'm hearing be the adult in the situation, whatever situation that is. But I'm specifically seeing like an adult leading a child, like taking a child by the hand. And so that could be, again, that could be literal for you, or probably or, and, you know, if you are a parent. It's also about taking your child's self by the hand and being an adult. Like, we all have, like, you know, you hear people talk about inner child stuff, but it's like we do have that child inside of us that we carry with us that often is a tender spot. You know, it's a tender place for us. It's a place where sometimes we can react out of a space of wounding or fears or deep things that we've carried with us since childhood, things like that. And there's a need this month to take a perspective of maturity and to handle something from your adult perspective, or from a more mature perspective, a perspective of having lived and learned lessons and coming in and approaching your child's self and or your child from that place and saying, okay, I see you. I see what's going on here. I surround you with love and also lead you and guide you firmly. And there's a little bit of unbiased perspective with it that comes with it. Because, okay, so as I was pre-shuffling all your cards, including the cards for the extended reading, the King of Wands came out of the Dark Exact Tarot. And I really like this because we're in Mars retrograde. And Mars is fire energy. The King of Wands is fire, full fire energy. Mars retrograde teaches us how to work with our fire and helps us see the ways that our fire manifests, maybe in ways that we need to reevaluate or rechannel or redirect. And I'm seeing you, Scorpio, coming out the end of Mars retrograde pretty victorious as the king of fire, having reached a level of mastery with your fire where you know how to handle that energy that you have, or you are learning over the course of this month, probably before this month and beyond this month. This is not something you learn in a month. But with Mars retrograde, it may really be quickening that process for you of seeing the way your fire can manifest in ways that need a little bit of guidance, you know? And so you're taking on this role for yourself and maybe for others in your life, younger ones in your life, of saying, okay, I know I need to redirect this. I know I need to redirect my fire in some way. I know I need to channel this energy into concerted, bold, and useful action. That's what the King of Wands does. The King of Wands is a trailblazer. The King of Wands steps up to some kind of plate here, steps up and takes a leadership role, but in a way that benefits everyone around them. It is bold action. It is channeling creativity into a specific action-oriented direction, but it's not a flamethrower. You know? It's not blazing out of control. It's a very channeled and directed. This is actually similar to what came through in the Virgo reading, which was direct your fire. Use it to elevate your circumstances and help others maybe in your life, especially younger energies. I'm really feeling that. I'm really feeling like this parent-child relationship. Again, it could be you taking on the role of reparenting your own child self in when it comes to the way your fire energy manifests. Oh my gosh. Scorpio, you are ruled by Pluto, but you're also ruled by Mars. So this Mars retrograde could be really teaching you about your fire energy. Fire energy can manifest as creativity, desire, initiative, ambition, anger, frustration. Okay. We're using the Slow Holler Tarot, and we're going to start by asking, what is the shape Scorpio is shifting out of in October? Okay. Shifting out of the Three of Stones. This is the planning phase. You know, this is like we're seeing someone drawing up some plans, maybe to build a boat, and they're writing it all in their journal. They're doing all of this sort of dreaming. Sometimes the Three of Stones can be a collaborative energy. So if that is applying to you, great. But what I'm seeing more in this particular card is like drawing out the blueprints, sketching out the idea of what it's going to look like or what something might end up being. So you're moving out of the planning phase here. What are you moving into? What is the shape Scorpio shifts into in October? Okay, wow. Student of Knives. There is an element of self-reflection here, of seeing yourself pretty close up, because of the way that knife is being held right in front of your face so that you can really see yourself clearly. Oh, interesting. I'm getting a specific message about because your eyeballs are looking directly at your own eyeballs. And it looks to me like you're seeing clearly the way you have been looking at things, or the way you have been seeing things, and reevaluating that. The Student of Knives, or the Page of Swords, is someone that's learning new information. And in this case, I think it's you're learning new information about yourself. And what's interesting about a student is always learning. And if you're a student, you are a beginner. You know, it's like students are successful when they are willing to put ego aside and have a beginner's mind about something. When they are willing to step back and say, okay, I don't know everything. I can't see myself in all the ways, right? I'm learning new information about myself here through whatever circumstances I'm living through, and I'm willing to not know. I'm willing to move in a way where I am learning and trying new things and, learning new ways of seeing, learning new ways of thinking, learning new ways of communicating. And there's something happening here that came through in the Gemini reading with this card, which was like the energy we direct. See this knife pointing out? The energy we direct at others is the energy we actually are directing back at ourselves a lot of the time. So it's like you're understanding that exchange, that like the things you're projecting onto others are really just projections that are coming, not always, but often. And I think it's a message that's coming through for you as you may be in a circumstance where you're projecting things onto other people. And the energy this month may be helping you see the ways that those projections are actually reflections for yourself. They're actually helping you see yourself and see that you're coming from a certain perspective that may need adjustment. And again, you need a humble mind to be willing to see that in yourself and make those adjustments. Which is interesting because the King of Fire is able to have a lot of fire energy, which is like a really strong, healthy ego. And part of a healthy ego is willingness to not know and willingness to be humbled when necessary, right? There's also, I'm being drawn to the talk bubbles here. Communication, communication, communication. Big time. Let's see. What does the shapeshift look and feel like for Scorpio in October. So much flipping. The cards are like wanting to flip, but they're not actually turning over. Okay. Okay, whoa. Here we go. Everyone's getting the Ace of Swords. Okay, Ten of Swords and Traveler of Vessels. Here we go. Here we go. Ten of Knives, Ace of Swords, Knight of Cups, or Traveler of Vessels. Here's the deal. The 10, this is the beginning and this is the end. This is the 1 and this is the 10 in this suit. You've got to bring something to an end the cycle, end a cycle of how you've been thinking, right? All these swords, swords, swords. I just saw 1111. End the cycle of how you have been thinking and communicating and the thoughts that constantly cycle in your head. And especially this with the planning phase, I was getting like journaling almost of like keeping all of your thoughts contained in like a book. Whereas the Ace of Swords would be more forward communication. And so there's something here about cycling thoughts and cycles of ways of thinking and seeing and communicating that bring harm to yourself and maybe to others. And that's what needs to come to an end here. This is intense energy. The B is speaking to me of productivity. So this could be specifically with your relationship to productivity or work, especially since I've been seeing this as like planning something. And then the Ace of Swords is a new way of thinking, a new way of communicating, a new beginning, some sort of eye-opening, again with the eyeball here, and we've got this eyeball right here. I mean, we have Mercury retrograde and all this mental energy is certainly Mercury. An eye-opening revelation that helps you see things differently, helps you see yourself differently, and helps you see the way you are seeing things and that the way you're seeing things is having an effect on your perceptions and therefore, I think having an effect on your emotions and your ability to, King of Wands, take action and channel your fire into action. Because we have the Traveler of Vessels here, the Knight of Cups. Knights and travelers, they want to move. They want movement. And specifically, this is wanting movement on the emotional front. Wanting things to feel like they're moving forward emotionally. Wanting matters of the heart, perhaps, to move forward. And what's interesting about this, and I talked about this in the Virgo reading, is there's a need to channel, for you, I think, yes, channeling your fire because the King of Wands is here, but it's like, there's more swords here than anything. So I think this is about channeling your mental energy, your communicative energy to help elevate, because look, the horse has risen up into the sky, which is getting a higher perspective on things. That actually helps your heart to move forward, helps you to move forward from a heart-centered space or a heart-led movement that actually makes you feel like you're making progress. But it's like from that higher vantage point, you'll be able to see yourself and others more clearly, specifically yourself more clearly because of the image on this card. And it's going to change the way you see things, the way you communicate, and the actions that you take towards self-expression, perhaps, and the ways that you express yourself. So this really could be talking about a time of reevaluating. I'm seeing all this red again as that Mars energy. And I'm seeing it as like planning, journaling, drawing things out as a way to try to suss out what's going on and plan and reevaluate and get a different vision or a different perspective. That again, with the help of beginner's mind, it's going to help you see things in a different way. And then with this King of Wands, I just keep feeling that like, this is that adult, you know, like this is that learning curve. Learning, beginner's mind, student. This is that learning curve of like moving into a different level of maturity. Because again, in the beginning, I saw you coming at things from a different level of maturity, leading yourself from a more mature place, leading others from a more mature place. And that comes again from being willing to see yourself in a different way. This is interesting, Scorpio. So I want to dive into this now, into the extended, because I have a feeling we're going to get into the King of Wands a little more and see how this is translating into action in your life. It feels, because especially the Traveler of Knives, the Traveler of Vessels, the Knight of Cups is moving forward heart movement. That starts to feel really exciting. I mean, this horse is galloping, you know? Juliet quote, "Gallop apace, ye fiery-footed steeds." Okay, it's like all that fiery-footedness helps to gallop apace, but again, it's like channeling that in a more, I think, just a more enlightened way, you know, like in a more mature or a more zoomed out perspective, something like that, a more clear way of seeing, which will, I think, translate into a more clear way of moving forward. And that feels really good. Okay, so Scorpio, we're going to dive into the extended reading now and start to pull some more cards, get clarity on this. I just saw 1717. There's that star energy. Okay. Yes. This is all leading somewhere quite good. Okay. Scorpio, I hope you'll join me for the extended reading. If you'd like to view it, click the link in the description box below and that will take you to Patreon. Patreon is an online community I've created for folks who like my work and want to go deeper. If that's you, head on over there. Please read the description when you get there so you know how to receive your extended reading from me, and I'll send you the rest of this reading for October. All right, Scorpio, happy birthday to you, October babes. I'll talk to you soon. See the subconscious things that are happening below your radar or below the surface for you, which I think will be pointing you to the ways you are not speaking. Protection from loss of voice. There you go. This whole reading is clearly about communication and needing to open that channel to free from the ways that you keep swallowing. It's like every time you swallow what you want to say, it turns into a knot in your throat. And then every time you try to say something, it has to pass through more and more of a maze of knots, which is that 10 of Swords. Ooh, interesting. Maze of cycle of butts and maze of knots. I'm actually seeing that, the word N-O-T.